Yo, what is up, everybody? Ceresco back again, here with the final story from the collection Macabre Minds, written by Auntie Heart. Remember to check out the links in the description, show love to the author, like, comment, and subscribe. Story 15, No Girls Allowed. No, really, my treehouse eats girls. At least, that is what the innocence in my childhood mind told me. The oak tree in our backyard tower over its kind in my neighborhood, kissing the blue sky with its large leaves that seem rather large in my little palms. Awestruck, I watched as it turned warm colors in the cold fall. As winter began, the leaves piled up, and perfect jumping cushion. Spring and summer saw a little boy climbing the oak tree's branches, much to his parents' dismay. As an outgoing child, I had many friends, but nothing quite compared to the strange love I abhorred for that tree. The second largest tree in the neighborhood belonged to my friend Ashton. Its grandeur could not compare to that of my tree. But one day, when I went over to his house after school, wood was constructed in the folds of Ashton's tree, hugging it like a child. A tree in a tree. Ashton and I climbed the ladder to the treehouse, and we played with our matchbox cars for hours. My eyes kept drifting to the tops of the houses and the clouds they lulled by. Sparrows and squirrels peeked curiously through the windows, flew off in a panic, and Ashton threw his cars at them. We both laughed. It was a boyish thing to do. I practically fell onto my knees in an attempt to beg my working father for a treehouse of my own, to live in my oak tree. It seemed so magnificent, so surreal. I had to have it. My heart soared at my luck when my dad did not hesitate to take time off work to build. I watched him with curiosity. He even let me use a power drill for a very brief moment before he laughed and took it back into his calloused, rough hands. Mine, too soft. My father's finished product was the envy of all those neighborhood kids, Ashton included. The treehouse towered over the neighborhood like a god, and it screamed at the children to come play. I spent hours every day in that tree, and my parents would even sometimes let my friends and I camp out with flashlights and comic books to keep the darkness creeping in. Treehouse was safe, a fort, the beacon of light in the neighborhood. Why did that have to change? Ashton came up with the idea for a No Girls Allowed poster. I wrote the words with red markers, with the sloppy handwriting of a 7-year-old careless boy. Girls had cooties, that's what Ashton said. And I did not want anything to taint my fortress. We hung the poster up with a whole roll of heavy duct tape so it would not fall off. Indelible like the walls of the treehouse itself, Ashton found it amusing. I merely thought it was practical. But the fear of an imaginary childhood disease seemed almost silly when I met Crystal. He moved in next door and greeted me with a friendly cherry smile. I like your tree. How old are you? 7. 7 1/2. My name is Crystal. What's yours? I mumbled my name to her. Why did my words come out as awkward? I was not a shy boy, but all I could think of that night was her dark hair and emerald green eyes, like the leaves of my oak tree. I invited her over to play the next day and was delighted when she pulled out my race cars and helped me set up the track. I have a little brother. I play with him. I like his cars. I smiled at her, a rush of confidence telling me to appear impressive. She smiled back. It was only a few hours later that she asked to see my treehouse, and of course, I obliged. My heart fluttered strangely. There's something wrong? When she lit up like a sun after a night of camping outside, we climbed the sturdy rope ladder, and she just giggled at my poster. I then watched dumbly as she danced about the treehouse. I love it, I love it. I showed her my comic books that were strewn across the floor, and we sat close enough to touch and leafed through the colorful pages. She liked Thor. I did too. I will regret this decision until the day I can no longer feel. Until the day. Why did I drink all of that Sunny D? I blame my sugar tooth, which I lost in adulthood. Damn, did I have to piss? I left Crystal to skim through the comics on her own, and I descended the ladder and rushed inside. I did my business quickly, shook twice, and sprinted back to the oak tree. The earthy smell permeated the warm summer air. Break from school had me completely relaxed. The sun shone brightly, nice, since I was once afraid of the dark. It was such a pretty day. But the world seemed significantly less beautiful when Crystal vanished from my treehouse. My father was out the door in a matter of seconds, my mother following closely. I wasn't worried, just peeved that Crystal left without saying goodbye. At least the fright did not set until my mother called 911. That number I knew never to dial unless it was an emergency. Did my voice shake when the police asked me questions, scratched at their notepads? Did I cry a few weeks later when my father told me that Crystal was gone? I do not recall, but I do know that I sobbed when my father said that the treehouse must have eaten her because of that stupid, childish sign I had hung up. Too much tape, forever there, even when I tried in vain to peel it off. Ashton wondered at my distress and even called it ridiculous. But it was my fault Crystal was dead. I had led her to the treehouse. A year later, a little bit older, Ashton refused to believe that he had ever made fun of my affection for a girl. Her name was Allison. It was not really my type, since she was at least a head taller than me and let me know it, but Ashton was enamored. Despite her joke directed at my stunned size, she was nice enough, and we spent our days hanging out together. The three of us, me, that awkward extra wheel. It was fine though. I liked her because Ashton liked her. I was a good best friend. At least, that was until Ashton wanted to show her my treehouse. I freaked. Absolutely not. Then my friend flared up in anger. He was bigger than me too, and I knew he could easily push me down. He twisted a fist into my hair and yanked my head back. Allison wanted to see the treehouse, and whatever Allison wanted, she got from Ashton. Tears flowed from my eyes, from the pain, both physical and emotional. All I could think of was the pretty girl with the dark hair and the green eyes as Allison climbed into the treehouse. I twitched with nerves as Ashton and Allison cuddled up together by one of the windows. Allison smiled at the birds as they flew by, and Ashton grinned at her. I was scowling. The "No Girls Allowed" poster stared at me from the door. The wooden walls creaked and the oak's branches swayed, and for the first time, I found it somewhat frightening. So, I excused myself from their company, and they began to kiss. What else could I do? But if I had stayed, maybe I could have prevented yet another disaster. I swelled with anger when Ashton came inside, Allison not in tow, to get 2 cups of my knockoff orange juice I refused to drink. I punched my friend, and for the first time, I meant the abuse. How dare he leave a girl alone in that treehouse? Did he not know? Did he not remember Crystal? My treehouse eats girls, and Ashton learned that the hard way. The police never found a body. My dad's past words haunting my mind. Ashton and I concluded with tears and disbelief that my treehouse did in fact gobble up 2 girls. We hugged it out and promised, pinkies hooked together, never to set foot up my oak ever again. But, like I previously detailed, my treehouse attracted the neighborhood children like lemmings to a cliff. New kids will start up at the rope ladder despite my warnings. Not a single boy went missing, but sisters, daughters did. 5-year-old Serena was eaten the same summer Allison was, along with her slightly younger sister and a few of her daycare friends. Why did my dad throw a damn barbecue? Why did he actually encourage the girls to enter the treehouse? My oak tree was no longer a symbol of childhood fascination. No, it was the epitome of terror. The branches moved up and down like teeth chewing on a piece of meat. The wood groaned in the night wind outside my window. The voices, 10 missing girls. Crystal, Allison, Serena, Dale, Gabriella. So many more that I can't recall the names of. So, as years grew, so did I. And my hatred for that treehouse. I refused to climb the oak branches, and the treehouse became decrepit and somewhat moldy from the lack of care. Not that I minded. I wanted it to rot, decay, fall apart into the hell it was built from. When the branches brushed my window at night, I would wake up screaming. My mom must have known how much that treehouse terrified me, for she brought a sledgehammer with her outside one day. She disappeared promptly after. I turned 16. It was a bittersweet day. My mom had been missing for 3 years that day, and my dad bought me power tools, that just reminded me building that god-awful treehouse, my mom managing from the maws of the beast, with only a hammer to protect her. Ashton bought me a video game. I invited a new kid from school over named Kieran, and he watched with boredom. He was some sort of, I don't know, I guess, anarchist punk kid, obviously going through an awkward phase, and he put on a mask of indifference when we handed him the controller. I invited the kid only because I felt sorry he had no friends. My mistake. Our casual conversation took a darker turn. Isn't this the place where all those girls went missing? Ashton and I exchanged nervous glances. Fuck off, man. Leave it be. It's fine. Yeah, a few girls went missing. My mom included. Ashton hung his head. Kieran glanced between the two of us. How? How did that happen? Did the police ever find out? No. No one knows what happened to them. I stared out my window at the treehouse, silhouetted in the dusky sky like some sort of shadow monster. I was an easy guy to read, so Kieran began laughing at the look I was giving the tree. So that's why you guys don't go out much, huh? You're scared of a tree. Aw, shut the fuck up, Ashton hissed. Kieran cackled louder. Ha! You guys suck. It's just a tree. Here, let's do something interesting. I dare you to go out there. $20. Stay the night in that treehouse. Leave him be, Ashton warned, when I gave Kieran a panicked shake of my head. Kieran leaned in close. His breath smelled like the garlic pizza we had just devoured. I dared you, pussy. You aren't scared, are you? I know that I was stupid. Call it teenage hormones, with testosterone raging and screaming at me to man up, prove Kieran wrong. I was 16, damn it. I was a man, and I was scared of a treehouse. So I just ended up saying, fine. Ashton then grabbed me and said, "You're kidding, right? Don't do this, man." I put on my bravest face, one I had not used since I was a fearless child. My treehouse did not eat girls. Just a tree, Ashton. Come on, 20 big ones, Kieran shouldered. I did want that money. I think I wanted to buy some DLC for one of my games. It seems so ridiculous now. Had I really been that greedy? That stupidly fearless? I guess so. That's what carried my feet to my backyard. I ran my fingers across the rope ladder. There was rope, soft, fraying in places, and I feared it would not hold even my small frame. Kieran laughed from the door. Ashton was watching with fright clear in his brown eyes. One night, I told myself. 20 easy dollars. Just a tree. It's just a tree. The universe likes to prove me completely wrong. The rope sagged under my feet, but held, and I climbed for an eternity to the top. I hardly breathed as I pushed the door in and entered the treehouse. No girls allowed glared at me as the door creaked in. I I blanched. I threw up. I screamed and I fell backwards out of the treehouse. Off the side, and then the shooting pain of my broken arm, a nasty concussion. I blacked out just a moment after I hit the ground. I woke up in the hospital, thinking what I saw had been a nightmare. I had heard enough that to be true, but looking at the blurry-eyed Ashton, a scared shitless Kieran, and a horde of police officers, I knew better. They asked me so many questions. It took me a while to remember everything I had seen. They showed me the pictures. I watched the news from my hospital bed, the television showing my father in handcuffs, few body bags, an emaciated woman not even trying to smile for the cameras. I do not believe they remember how to smile, especially that skinny young teenage girl with the dark hair, green eyes, completely dead of light. 3 dead bodies. Allison was among the dead. Lucky soul. Ashton found some comfort in that fact. Bodies mutilated, strung up on the ceiling with the heavy-duty tape as a reminder. Skeletons with just a hint of decaying flesh for all those years to scare the girls into believing there was no escape. My dad rigged the door of the treehouse, that it only opened from the outside after all. A few more men were arrested, and a few more young girls rescued when my father confessed to human trafficking. What could be a better place for illegal activity than a treehouse that his son and his friends avoided out of fear of imaginary teeth grinding bone? The police had checked the treehouse after my mom went missing, but never found anything since my dad at the time ran his operation in an abandoned building outside of town. He moved it into the treehouse shortly after, delighting in the twisted nature of the situation. Children stolen, an outgoing boy turned to his insomniac with severe depression. I was sent to the loony bin after attempted suicide, and there I ran into a familiar face. Gone was the smile, but the dark hair was at least combed, and the green eyes greeted me like a friend. I blamed myself, of course, but she had none of that. I began to feel a bit better when the doctors gave us permission to share a quick hug. But that's when she showed me the scar, and I began to sob. I lost all hope in that moment. That once infected line that ran across her lower stomach. She told me with tears of her own that I was lucky my dad had created me, a son. After all, no girls, not even infants, were allowed in that treehouse. And that, ladies and gentlemen,